Hey guys, welcome to a new video on the Blue Abroad YouTube channel. In today's video, I want to recap the Brownlow. I'm filming this the morning after the 2024 Brownlow Medal, and there were a few things that I wanted to touch on, and also just to get your thoughts as well on what happened last night. So Patrick Cripps became the club's leading Brownlow vote getter last night. He polled 45 votes and won his second Brownlow Medal. And that obviously is a record for the most votes ever polled in a season by any player since they brought in the system, the 3-2-1 system. He was ahead of Nick Dacos, who also broke the record with 38 votes. He polled phenomenally and had a phenomenal year. And Zach Butters came third with 29 votes. It was dominant, and I noticed a few things, and I wanted to touch on them. The first thing I noticed was he polled in pretty much every single game that I thought he may have polled. I remember doing the round-by-round breakdown prior to the Brownlow, and as I got the highlights up, I looked at them and I realized, like, how can he not get a vote in most of these games? The way he plays, the style of play at the coalface, high contested possession rate, clearances. We saw his score involvements increase a lot this year as well. He kicked goals, double digits, and he had his best year. And I think if you're a Carlton supporter, you're watching every game as closely as what we watch. It's really clear that it almost looked too good to be true. I remember going into the count last night thinking, well, he's clearly the favourite. And in my head, I thought, how can he not win this? How can he not poll votes in every single one of these games that we were looking at? And I just thought he's almost too much of a favourite to win it. And it ended up being exactly how we thought it would go. And I even got a little worried. I don't know, maybe it's just the Carlton supporter in me. There was a certain point where I thought, okay, I don't want to get too excited. Pommy was calling it on the live stream that it was over. And I thought, nah, this is, it's not over yet. And I don't want to get sucked in and then get hurt. But he just ran away with it. And really clear how consistent he was. I think if you're not watching Carlton closely the way we are, and that happens with every club, if you're not watching other teams, then you're not really seeing the nuance behind it. I mean, the reality is with Cripps this year, our game winners, our match winners, key position players as well. De Koning had some really good games. I was a bit surprised that he didn't get the 3 votes against Geelong the second time. But we know that ruckmen don't poll well. They never have. Charlie and Harry had games where they really helped carry us in moments, but they don't poll very well. Jacob Wiedering as well doesn't poll. He's a defender. So it's always been a midfielder's award, and fair enough. They're at the coalface a lot of the time. They're winning the ball, and that's just the reality of it. So, and then if you look at the other midfielders around Cripps, Walsh didn't have as great a year. He didn't kick goals and have as great a year. Still polled relatively well. Finished, in the top 20. But after that, there was no one else to really take votes off Cripps. So we look at his season. He played every game. That helps. He was available every single game. You give yourself the best opportunity when you don't miss games. He averaged just a touch under 29 possessions a game, 15.7 contested, 8 clearances, kicked 17 goals. So goal-kicking mids have always been a feature in there, and I saw a few people talking about, Bontempelli and the like. If you look at Bontempelli, case in point, you've got Treloar in that midfield who had a great year, is a midfielder who kicks goals. So naturally, votes will come off each other there. The other big thing that I took away from the evening, and I was blown away, if I'm honest, the way he spoke. I've never really watched Patrick Cripps talk and be drawn into every word that he's saying. It's been a learned behavior over time. He's a country kid coming into the system, and I think even in his 2022 Brownlow speech, a lot of it was just, he was talking about, I just love playing footy with my mates. And if you look at the last 2 years alone, so his 2022 Brownlow speech and his 2024 Brownlow speech, I got goosebumps talking about it. I was so drawn into every word he was saying. He was self-aware. He was emotionally intelligent. He spoke with his own mind. And I don't know, maybe he didn't drink as much or whatever the case may be, but there was a clear difference in the way that he spoke. And he'd really learned a lot about himself in the last 2 years, it seemed. Now, I'm sure that's come over, 10, 12, 13 years since he really started taking it seriously that he would become a professional footballer. But I was so proud as a supporter and just proud of him and proud of his family. And I was so pleasantly surprised to hear him talk and to be drawn in. And I was actually taking and drawing inspiration from some of the things that he was saying. And he knows who he is. He's a father now, and I'm sure that that's done something for him as well with, his responsibility to his family and the family that he's creating. And, I felt a range of emotions. I felt, on the one hand, look how brilliant he is as a human being and how much he's grown, and, it's more than football and these things. And then going back to the football side of things, it's like, man, when are these teammates going to lift? You've got a guy that's leading the way he leads, leading by example, showing consistency in his preparation and diligence in his preparation. And it's like, guys, come on. Like, there's no question about the leadership now in this team. We are led well. And he's taken big strides in his leadership, Patrick Cripps. And it would be still a long time to go. Not too long, but still some time to go, some years to go. But, I mean, you just think about the opportunity that, we let slip this year. And you've got a guy that's playing at his highest level. And it's not about just winning it for Patrick Cripps. It's not about, having that Messiah complex. But when you've got the top end who are clearly putting in the diligence to get themselves at their optimal level, and then you've got, I would say some, if not most, are doing what they need to do. And then I would say there's just too many who aren't putting in the level of diligence that we need to win a premiership. And, time will go by, and they may win a flag and they may not win a flag, and ultimately they'll get forgotten about if they don't win a flag. And that's just the reality of how it plays out, And so from the supporters' lens, super proud of Patrick Cripps and the growth that he's shown. And now the hope is that, it inspires the rest of his teammates to, be as diligent with their preparation and, cut the shit, grow up. And, maybe I do need a little bit more patience. Maybe that's the word. I don't know. I just see years going by and I just hear similar conversations, and we all want it. It's just a question of, are we willing to put in what it actually takes to win a premiership? So those are my thoughts on the Brownlow. Big congratulations to Patrick Cripps. A remarkable effort. And yeah, what about you? What did you take away from the 2024 Brownlow Medal? Curious to see what you picked up on. Chat with me in the comments. We'll go from there.